Welcome to A Slob Comes Clean, the podcast. I'm Dana K. White. I blog over at aslobcomesclean.com. That's where I share my personal deslobification process. As I figure out ways to keep my own home under control, I share the truth about cleaning and organizing strategies that actually work in real life for real people who don't love cleaning and organizing. Thanks for joining me today. This is podcast number 231, and I am answering some questions of like in person. I mean, not like in person, flesh and blood, but over a call. I know. Are you confused yet? Here's what's going on. So if you are new around here, you might not know that we have a super secret special group for people who are patrons of the show, which means they financially support the show on a monthly basis. People who do that at the $5 or more a month level, get access to a super secret Facebook group. I also have a not super secret Facebook group, like just out there and loving it, kind of a Facebook group over on the page, but that one's a much more locked down version. Like, you know, you can't start a discussion, only I can, blah, blah, blah. Mostly because I can't handle managing that. But, anyway, the Kindred Spirits group is a lovely place. And I've told you guys that before. And I'm finally doing something that I've always wanted to do. And that is doing decluttering or home strategy sessions with those people who are in that group and are willing to have it be on a podcast. I didn't like record this with her and then later put it on the podcast. That would be awful. No. Anyway, I took volunteers in that group, and who knows, maybe at some point I'll do other people as well, but I've got so many great people in there. I'm going to give them first chance. But this is something I've always wanted to do, and it's just the logistics that I haven't been able to. But my friend Jennifer is like my actual friend. She was the one on, I think it was a year or two ago. We did like 2 different episodes on buying gifts for our kids and things like that. Anyway, 'cause she's great at that kind of stuff. Anyway, she has started doing some stuff for me. And one of the things I had her do is just get this organized. I was like, this is something I want to do. And I just can't even, I don't have the bandwidth right now to deal with the logistics of it. Can you figure it out? And so she's been doing that. And so we've got several scheduled to record, but I was really excited to get my very first one done. I was so thankful to Elizabeth for being my experiment first person to do one of these calls. Anyway, that's what you're going to hear today. Elizabeth is great. I was really relieved that I'd actually met her in person before. Not that I'm scared to meet other people, but you know what I mean? I was like, oh, good. I'm nervous anyway. I know you. All right, good. But I think you're going to love kind of hearing this. Hopefully as confirmation that, yeah, there's a lot of us out there. But also, you know, just kind of get to talk through different people's unique situations because, her situation is different than mine. And she'll tell you about that in the interview. So without further ado, here's Elizabeth. Thank you so much for coming, Elizabeth, on this podcast with me. Are you ready?
I am.
And I was so relieved when I saw that it was you. I mean, I'm excited about doing these, but I was really like, oh, good. I know her. Because we met this summer, right?
We did meet this summer.
At Becoming?
We did.
Yeah. Did you love Becoming?
I loved it. Loved it.
It's just the most fun.
It really is.
Yeah. They haven't set a date for next year or when the next one's going to be. So we probably shouldn't talk about it too much because then people will just be sad, that they can't like go ahead and come. But anyway, no, it was really fun. Did you get to know the other kindred spirits and people who were there of our, you know, my people?
The group that would meet up for meals. I got to know them a little bit.
Yeah.
So.
That's fun. Okay. So you're my guinea pig. You're my very first one to do this. And you are one of our kindred spirits through Patreon. And that's kind of how I'm getting started on all of this because you guys are my main people. And I'm very thankful for you. So what we're going to do, just as a reminder, and you filled out a form, you kind of told me kind of some main issues that you would like to talk through. I'm not saying that I'm going to have the best, most perfect answers of the whole entire world, but we'll see how this goes. And then we're also going to talk about some things that have really made a difference in your home. And, but before we get started, I know it was kind of one of the last questions on the form, but, tell me your unique situation. Like, you know, what's your life look like?
Okay. Well, I've been married to my high school sweetheart for 17 years.
Oh.
We have 2 amazing boys, age 11 and 3. who are extremely active and 100% boy, both of them. I'm a nurse, so I work typically 3 12-hour shifts a week, but that varies depending on the season. And that makes home management tougher because the schedule is so irregular.
Do you feel like you just get going and then all of a sudden it's out of routine? Yeah.
Yes. Like last week I worked actually 6 days in a row and my house was a complete disaster. Right. My husband does the best he can, but it's more than one person can manage. So.
Yeah. Okay. So you're a nurse. How far away from home do you work? Is it like a long commute or?
About 35, 40 minutes.
Okay.
Which seems probably long to some people, but we live out in the country, so it's that far to go anywhere.
And that's considered full-time for a nurse, right? 3 12-hour shifts? Okay.
It is.
So how'd you end up working 6 days in a row?
Just pulling some overtime, flu season.
Everybody wash your hands, okay? And cover your mouths when you sneeze.
Absolutely.
Please. Okay. So tell me, what is the biggest, what strategy has had the biggest impact, positive impact on your home?
The biggest, and it seems so simple, is just the whole decluttering without making a bigger mess.
Yeah.
Because I'm like you with the project brain, and I'm the type person to pull everything out of the closet and then something happens and I'm just left with this huge pile of stuff. So I guess just having that permission to do one thing at a time as I get to it, whether it's 5 seconds or 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It really has made the biggest difference.
Did you resist that at all?
I don't think I really resisted it. I just think it never really occurred to me that it was an option.
Right. That it was possible.
Right.
To do it that way. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. And do you feel like even though because like I can see stairs, nobody else is going to see what I'm seeing, but because it's going to be audio, but I can see stairs. So like even with stairs, do you still follow that strategy?
Yes. I just try to, if I'm headed for something upstairs, I look around. What else can I take with me as I go?
Okay. And you still feel like you're making progress. You're not stopping in the middle.
No, huge progress.
That's great. Yay. See everybody who thinks that it doesn't work. I'm telling you. Okay. So tell me another strategy that has had the second biggest impact on your home.
Probably doing the dishes every day.
What was your dishes routine like before?
There was no routine. Mm-hmm. It was, we don't have any plates to eat off of tonight. Let's wash dishes really quick so we can eat supper.
Right. Yeah. So what are the positive, impact? What kinds of things are different now because you've been focusing on that?
Well, one thing is just the feeling when I walk into the kitchen of not being completely overwhelmed because I actually have counter space. I actually can get to the stove to cook. I'm not worried about counting the number of clean plates I have because I know they're in the cabinet and they're clean, or they're at least in the dish drainer and they're clean.
There's strange peace in that.
It really is.
In not worry, when you're thinking about having dinner, to know that the only thing that you have to think about is dinner and not, there's this and this and this that has to happen in order for that to actually turn out.
Right. Knowing I don't have to spend 30 minutes on dishes before I can actually start preparing a meal.
Right.
Huge.
That's good. Okay. So tell me a situation that you would like to talk about.
Well, I know you've addressed it so many times, but just with kids and decluttering with kids, I try to do some of it when they're not around, but when I try to help them with it, what's the best strategy for helping them, especially with my 11-year-old, and he's super attached to every single thing he picks up.
Right. Have you done it with him?
Some.
Have you gone? Okay.
Yes.
When you do it with him, I know you said you've done it without him, and my kids, I've done it both ways. And I think there's different times when, it kind of depends on, I have the time and the energy and the focus right now, and are they home or not? That's how I decide whether I'm doing it with them or not. And my kids were always excited when they came home and their room was clean and wonderful, but if he's having those attachment issues, I relate to that because I feel like I had such attachment issues to my stuff that a big part of, my process is working through it in a way that kind of helps me go, wait, I'm not actually as attached to that as I thought I was. So have you worked through the 5 steps, like specifically the 5 steps with him, like starting with trash and say, okay, we're just going to just throw away trash. Have you done that?
We've started. I don't know that we've ever made it all the way through the whole 5 steps, but
right. But every step is progress. So that's good. Right.
Yeah.
Have you gotten to the container concept with him?
I've touched on it.
Okay. Yeah. So, maybe if you're feeling, there's no wrong way to declutter, so, if you're feeling like we never get to that, that's not the thing, maybe go from that perspective. And if he's attached, one of the things I've noticed, especially with, sometimes with my husband, even more than my kids, and it's changed over the years, like we've really changed a lot, but in dealing with them, sometimes it would be an issue of them holding on tighter because they were afraid of what was coming, like afraid of what do you really mean when we say we're going to declutter, because I had done it so many times of just me being frantic and over the top and not having any kind of real, for me personally, they had only seen me do it the wrong way, and so I feel like I had to kind of convince them with that. And the container concept is such a great thing for honoring and proving to them that I really am going to let you keep what you want to keep. But the facts are you can't keep everything. It's that whole, like what I needed to know personally in my own process was that it's not that I just have to get rid of everything. It's simply there's not enough space for everything. And so, do you have any natural containers already in his space, like a bookshelf or of course he's 11, so I'm not sure exactly what kinds of, toys and stuff, because that's kind of a transitional age for a lot of them. But do you have any things that you can think of that he's already got that are a natural container that needs to be dealt with?
I can. Yeah,
okay.
I can think of a couple of things, and I can think of some things that we could put in there to work with containers too.
So even if you just take something as simple as we're going to tackle just his bookshelf, and because attachment is the issue here, container concept is such a great way to deal with attachment. We're going to focus on his bookshelf instead of his whole entire room. We're going to say, okay, here's your bookshelf. Or if he has a collection of something, like let's say he's just been collecting, I'm trying to remember 11-year-olds, but Legos. Yeah. I know. Of course, there are people, you might not choose the thing he's most attached to, but you might choose something that he is attached to, which maybe is where books come in. I don't know. But you say, okay, here's your bookshelf. Here's the books. We're going to put your favorite ones on here first. One thing I did with my daughter, she was younger than that, but was the like it shelf and the love it shelf, and I said, because it was just to go through all these books and put your favorite ones on this shelf and the ones that you like, you maybe don't love it, but you like it, put them on this shelf. And that just so naturally sorts them out. For so many of us, people like me, the container concept is like just a switch that goes in our head. Once that switch flips, everything changes. Not the whole house immediately becomes perfect, but it does like change that idea of what it needs, what it is that I'm doing here. So as, you go through that and you work on this one space, he can kind of see, oh, okay, she's really, truly not forcing me to get rid of something that I don't want to get rid of, but I can't keep everything. And usually, there's no guarantees, obviously, as any parent knows. But usually that will naturally sort out and let him get rid of some of the books or, and then there's that whole concept that's such a great teaching thing of you find that book that you were reading in the bathroom or whatever, and you go, oh, I wanted to put this on my shelf. There's no room. Oh, of course you can keep it. Just pick one that you don't like as much as that one to make room for it. That's the one in, one out, So I think if the overall thing is overwhelming and you're not fully getting to the container concept, start with the container concept and just on a very small space. Do you feel like that would be helpful?
I do, and I really like that love it shelf, like it shelf. Yeah. I really like that.
Yeah, because it also means that when it's time to start getting rid of some stuff, they've already sorted out, yes, I like this, but I don't like it as much as that, and ideally the whole thing is a love it shelf. So if they fill up the love it shelf and they've got stuff on the like it shelf, oh, sure, you can put love it how many times am I going to say this in a row? Love it stuff on the like it shelf, but it has to have space for that. So, the container concept for me has worked so well in helping other people. There are plenty of power struggles between parents and children. We all know that. I mean, anybody who's been a child or been a parent knows that, which is all of us, right?
Right.
So that's just a natural thing. And to kind of let the container be the bad guy so that the power struggle element goes away. It's amazing how well that works. But, and the other thing too is just to work on I would say doing the 5-minute pickup in his room, and proving that you really do mean a 5-minute pickup, even though in your mind you're thinking that's not actually going to make an impact in here. But, I think for me personally, and I'm not saying this is how you are, but for me personally, because I had struggled on my own in so many of these areas and had not known what to do, I really had to prove to my kids that we're not doing the frantic, crazy clean where we shoved everything in the closet and hoped that grandma wouldn't open it. I had to prove that to them. And so it took time, for them to kind of realize that. So doing a 5-minute pickup with actually setting a timer, taking that before picture, taking that after picture, and letting him see and you see, oh, wow, that 5 minutes really did make a difference, can really change some of that mindset eventually. It's not going to be immediate, but eventually. Does that help? Or do you have any other follow-up questions on that?
No, that helps tremendously.
Okay.
That helps tremendously.
Well, and I'd love to hear from you, like how it goes and taking a small bite. Because I think sometimes too, it's that all or nothing mentality of, okay, we've got a day today. Oh, I've geared myself up. I'm going to mother really hard today and we are going to get this done and say, okay, it's, maybe it just needs to be more of a teaching time of this is the basics of the container concept, which will change things. So, okay. Do you have another question?
Yes. I did want to ask, so with an irregular schedule, what are the best ways to stay on top of those routines?
Well, I think it's identifying the number one biggest impact stuff, which, you've said doing the dishes. Like, how does your doing the dishes, how does that work right now with your abnormal routine or out of the norm routine or whatever you would call it?
Well, I mean,
because you're not able to do it every single night. And yeah.
No, and I guess I could come home and take the 5 minutes to load the dishwasher because it really doesn't take that long. But honestly, sometimes I don't. A lot of times I don't. I come home, I hit the shower, and I'm ready to crash.
Yeah. I bet.
Yeah. But yeah, taking that time to load the dishwasher would make a big difference.
Well, okay. So, this is one of those questions that I hesitate to ask because it's something I still am not the greatest at, but, how are you bringing your family in on the actual loading of the dishwasher?
I'm still kind of at the point where I'm still trying to set that example.
Yeah.
So, I've shown my oldest how to load the dishwasher. The youngest likes to put the little dish, soap pot in and push the buttons. But
and I think because, that's just your reality is you have a crazy schedule. So the fact that you are doing the dishes, even if it's after you wake up, like you just said, you come home, you're completely exhausted as you completely deserve to be, go to bed. And then that's your version of morning routine, instead of evening, because your reality is that you don't have the bedtime and wake up just on every single day like other people do. But, saying, okay, I'm going to work this week. Like, let's say I've got one of my more normal versions of a week. Like, I don't know, if you work always Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or is that the order that days go in? Because suddenly my brain cannot.
Yeah.
Thursday, Friday. Oh my goodness. I am really good at this. Anyway. But so you've got, okay, so I've actually got Monday through Thursday at home or whatever, these are sort of kind of normalish days because I'm sure for you, if you're off on a weekend, well, those are out of routine days anyway. And then so it's hard. It's really hard. So it's like these days right here, just like you would do when you bring in a new habit of focusing on that habit every day for a week, because you're trying to focus on it for as long as you can before you get distracted and forget to focus on it anymore. But, it's like, okay, this is going to be my one thing I'm going to work on this week. This week especially, I am going to, after we eat dinner, I'm going to say, okay, let's all go put our dishes in the dishwasher. Like doing that for 1 week, and then, life goes crazy. You're working for 3 days in a row, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then the next week, when you have a day, okay, or even just whenever you remember, like trying to do that so that you can help to bring them in on the routine, because you're already making an impact. You're already trying, which is huge. You're already doing much better than you had before, because you've said that it has affected your house positively. So now start bringing them in on that, and just explain, like, hey guys, if you could just put your dish in the dishwasher instead of leaving it on the table or putting it in the sink, it will make it that much easier, because your likelihood of putting 3 dishes into the dishwasher as opposed to completely loading it when you're exhausted, that's more likely, or even just when you get up and you have your coffee when you finally wake up or whatever. But I think give yourself grace on that, and know that, like right now, my dishes routine is much more empty it in the morning and then load it again. Like it's not perfect right now. But the fact that I am doing them at some point every day means that my kitchen doesn't get out of control. It's not perfect. I don't walk in and go, oh, it's so perfectly clean, but I do walk in and I can have it, ready to let people in my front door pretty quickly, because I'm not backed up on dishes, so you're doing great. And just start thinking about, okay, what could we do for your unique situation, which is that you're completely out of routine every 4 days, right?
Right.
Yeah. What about what other routines have you tried to implement?
I'm working right now trying to really get in the habit of checking the bathrooms for clutter, because especially in our master bathroom, which is the bathroom that everybody seems to, shower and get ready in, the counters just, they'll look so great, and then you blink and you can't even see the counter anymore, because there's Hot Wheels and Legos and receipts. And
do you, have you tried the 5-minute pickup with the whole family yet?
I have tried. We have not been successful to get through the whole 5 minutes yet. But even 2 minutes makes a difference.
Oh, it does. Well, and I just this morning before school, which they love when I do that, I had my kids do one, because we obviously didn't do it last night. And, I was just having one of those moments of how worth it was, even in those times where we didn't do it successfully. All those times that I was like, is there really a purpose in this? Because, they get distracted or somebody starts crying or whatever, and it's like, oh, it is so worth it now that we tried. So even if you're trying, and sometimes for the 5-minute pickup, like let's say your bathroom counters are an issue, you can combine those two and say, okay, 11-year-old, this is your spot. Like I want you to pick up anything that's not supposed to be on this bathroom counter. That's what you're going to do during this 5 minutes, is you're going to go put it all away, and being even more specific in that kind of stuff. Or maybe even the 2-year-old, which 2-year-olds have great days and days, or is it 2 or 3? Is he 2 or 3?
He's 3.
Okay. Yeah. But still, we all know they have days where they're like, oh my word, they're so mature. And then other days where you think, wait, what?
Yeah. Well, he is the cleaner in my family. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. I'm hoping that lasts.
Yeah.
He likes to clean, and I don't know where he got that from.
Well, hey, take advantage of it, right?
Oh, I do.
Yeah. But I think sometimes it's that giving them, especially in those beginning times, as you're trying to make it a habit, say, okay, this is what I want you to focus on for these 5 minutes. Might help, and again, 5-minute pickups don't have to happen at a certain time. And so it might be the thing that you do, like these are the things that we do on these days that I've worked all night. And then I slept till this time, and then I get up, I load the dishwasher, and we do a 5-minute pickup or whatever. Of course, I'm sure that also is your 11-year-old, always home when you get home, or, because that's another part of the routine as well. He's
home.
He's home. Okay. Okay. You had one other thing that you wanted to talk about. What was it?
Seasonal decoration.
Oh, yes. We're almost to Christmas.
I know. That's what made me think of it. Because Christmas is the only season I decorate for.
Me too.
Like you, I just can't handle it.
I'm always jealous of people.
I know.
But I can't do it. Yeah. I feel like my kids will have a memory of mom decorating for a season, and that's Christmas. That's it. Yeah. So what's your current strategy?
I don't have one. I really don't.
Do you have a lot of stuff?
Not a lot, but more probably than I actually need. And I just have random places where things are kind of tucked out of the way, during the rest of the year.
So what kind of storage do you use? Like tubs, boxes, shelves?
Mostly tubs and boxes in like our attic, and then we have a closet too. It's kind of our Christmas closet.
Okay. Do you have other things in your house that need to go into those spaces, but there's not room because of Christmas stuff?
Yes.
All right. Then I would take advantage of the fact that it's Christmas coming up. As you pull things out, work on some visibility decluttering. And, once those things are out of those spaces, maybe don't put all their storage boxes back immediately, but think of, okay, what legitimately needs to be stored? Cause you're on your journey at this point, right? Like you've changed your mindset about a lot of stuff. Storage for the sake of just storing it and keeping it is different in your mind than it used to be, right?
It absolutely is.
Yeah. So look around at the things that are out visibly that you really wish you had a place for, and use some of that space that's empty right now because Christmas has actually been pulled out, and decide, does this stuff that needs to be stored deserve container space more than Christmas stuff? Is it legitimately? And you may go, okay, actually, I never use this stuff, and I do use Christmas every year, so it doesn't, so I'm not saying it definitely deserves it, but start looking at all those places where you say you've tucked in Christmas stuff. That's actual storage in your home, and view it as containers. And once it's empty because of Christmas being decorated, then really view it that way and go, okay, this visible clutter here needs a place to go. Does it deserve to go in this space? If it doesn't, then it needs to go. But if it does need to go in this storage space, put it in there. And then when it's time to put Christmas away, you have a smaller container. Put your favorite Christmas stuff into the container first, and that will naturally sort out what doesn't deserve container space. For those people who are listening that have no idea what I'm talking about when I say container space, it does not necessarily mean actual tubs. It means any shelf, any space in your home is a limit, a limit to how much stuff you can keep. It contains it. It's the actual containing of it. So viewing it that way and just using the opportunity. I know sometimes it's hard with seasonal stuff because you don't deal with that all the time. And it just is that's where Christmas stuff is. And even though I've been married for 20 years now, we've lived in this house for 13 years, or 14 maybe even, when I get stuff out, Christmas stuff out, I'm still surprised sometimes, oh, I forgot I still had that, so using that opportunity of, this is the size of my house. This is the storage space that I have. How important is Christmas stuff? Christmas is important. I'm not saying Christmas isn't important, but how important is Christmas stuff? Do you feel like you have some stuff that you don't actually put out?
Oh, yes, I'm sure I do. I'm sure there's always something left in the closet.
So it'll probably end up being fairly easy if you look at it that way, I would hope.
I think it's just one of those things that seems overwhelming to even think about. So I put it off, and then I put off thinking about it till I'm ready to put everything back in the closet at the end of the season. So I like that kind of thinking about it, not dwelling on it through the whole season, but kind of getting my mindset during the whole Christmas season of what's going back in there, what deserves that space. I really like that.
Well, and it'll also help you, like you just said, you don't always put everything out. So it's that trigger in your brain of this is a container. Wait a minute. Why is part of this space being taken up by something that wasn't even good enough for me to put out, or that I don't like enough or whatever? Because you're crafty, right?
I try to be. Ish.
So
I'm creative.
Right. So that's one of those things too that you have to remember. A lot of the joy of crafting is not necessarily in having the completed craft, but it's in the actual action of doing the craft. And so if you do get rid of a garland or a decoration or a wreath that you regret later, that's just an opportunity for you to get to be creative.
Yeah, like
right?
That too. Yes.
And I'm guessing that most likely you could post on Facebook to your local friends. Does anybody have any Christmas stuff they want to get rid of? Because I want to make a wreath. And I'll bet you people will give you stuff. Because it seems like this is one of those things we just collect. At least for me. I know that's what I intend to do. So, is there anything that you wish I would have asked you?
Oh, I was afraid you were going to ask me that.
You were wishing I wouldn't ask you what you wished I would have asked you. No, you don't have to say.
No, I can't. I can't think of anything.
Okay. Well, and because you're a kindred spirit, tell me what you love about so those people who don't know what I'm talking about, you can be a patron of the show. And if you're a patron at the $5 or more a month level, part of one of the perks of that is getting invited to a super secret Facebook group of all kindred spirits. And I really only talk about it on the podcast. And the reason for that is I feel like it's podcast listeners who really, really get it. That's the people who are all in. So tell me what you love about the Kindred Spirits Facebook group.
I love absolutely everything about the group. Everyone is so encouraging. It is the most uplifting group. There's like almost never any negativity in there. Mm-hmm. Someone can post about having a hard day or something going on in their life or some struggle. And there's just always people there to uplift them and encourage them and push on. And people who honestly understand how our brains work and the struggles in our life.
Well, and you don't have to explain and defend. You know what I mean? No. It's like you can say, this is what my kitchen looks like. I really thought I had maybe missed a day and I don't know how it looks like this. And nobody's like, oh my word, you must have not done dishes in a week, or like things that happen on the internet. Nobody's like that. Everybody's very kind and understanding and encouraging, and
there's no shaming.
I love it. All right. Well, thank you so much for being my guinea pig, for being not that I would ever do science experiments on a guinea pig. Right?
Right.
Because that would just be mean. But that is a phrase. So I know sometimes I feel the need to clarify things like that for those guinea pig lovers out there. But thank you so much for letting me use you as my first Kindred Spirit interview. It's been really fun, and it was good to get to see you again. And I hope that I'll see you at the next Becoming, whenever that might be.
I hope to be there.
Yeah, it's really fun. Okay, guys, I would love to hear from y'all on what you thought of our new thing. I'm not going to do this every time, but I would like to do at least one of these a month or so, and maybe more. Who knows? Depends on it. But if you want to be a patron of the show, go to Patreon, patreon.com/A Slob Comes Clean, and you can find out information there on how to do it. If you are a patron and you're not in the Facebook group, please email me at aslobcomesclean@gmail.com, because everybody who has filled out the form has been invited, but sometimes there are glitches either on Facebook side or whatever. Maybe you didn't see the form and you haven't filled it out, because it's not just being a patron, it's also filling out the form, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, just send me an email and we'll get that figured out. But thanks for joining us today. Oh, one more thing too, in case you're still listening. If you are listening to this on actual day it comes out, which is Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving in the U.S., through the end of this month, which is not that much longer, you can grab 14 days to opening your front door to guests for $5 using the code November. Okay, go do that. Links are in the show notes. I hope you guys have a lovely week. Talk to you later. Bye.